Hi, folks. Good to see you again. Been a while since I had put together a video to send to you guys, but believe it or not, I kind of can't believe it, but here we are, kind of midway through the term, and it never ceases to amaze me. But at any rate, instead of trying to send out a message, an announcement, or email, something to sort of explain this, it just feels a lot more natural to try and kind of articulate it to you more directly, and kind of catch us up on just a couple quick things. And then in the coming days, you'll be seeing more coming in the way of emails and messages and that sort of stuff. So I hope you all are surviving. I hope you've been getting the feedback and the work on the labs, on the perusal, on the quizzes. I know it's there's a lot of moving parts. I'm very aware, and you all have been extraordinary sports, going along in this little experiment with us as we do it, which is actually one of the reasons I wanted to attempt to try and explain this more directly too, instead of typing it out in a sort of abstracted way. So in working with the other instructors who are doing the course, I think I indicated it to whatever degree earlier on in the term, that we kind of revamped the entirety of this class. New materials, new approach, new pedagogy, new curriculum. It's all new, and to a huge degree, I understand that you are feeling that, even if you aren't fully aware of what it is, because you're kind of in the mix as all of this is going with the troubleshooting, questions, clarity. So, again, I emphasize I appreciate you being patient and good sports as all of that's going on. So, in being in contact with the other instructors, one of the things that, at least in one of the other sections that they had done, was, if you have kind of looked at the layout of our modules, we're laid out over the 10 weeks of the course and then going into the 11th week, the finals week. That really our modules are only set up to basically run through week 9. And that was done with a sort of intention that the project component that now we are going to be starting to talk about here sooner rather than later, kind of afforded more time at the end there to kind of wrap up the more traditional types of work that we're doing, the assignments, quizzes, and all of that. And then kind of more focus on a comprehensive, kind of bringing it all together sort of thing. Anyway, at least in one of the other sections, because of that sort of flexibility with the modules, they decided to kind of put an interim week in there. And so instead of diving into regression analysis the way that we currently are, they were shifting out some of that, kind of taking a week to sort of take stock of things, take a breath, allow a sort of catching up process. And I think there's a lot to be said for that, for sure. But here's the part that I want to try and explain, at least where my head is at, and what I think makes the most sense for our particular section of the course. That is, instead of sort of my placing a very intentional week, just, hey, we're going to block out this week and then shift into week 10, by sort of creating this week in the middle. As it already sits, our course is kind of the everybody within our course is kind of scattered throughout already. Some of you are right up to speed with the work that's right here for tonight. It's Halloween night. This is me sitting inside trying to get things done on Halloween. Um, and you're right up to the cutting edge of exactly where things are supposed to be with the readings and the work and everything else. Some folks are many weeks back, some folks are a couple of weeks here. So what I'm trying to say is there's an extraordinary amount of variability as it sits. So to my mind, what probably makes the most sense for us is, instead of blocking out this week in the middle, it's very intentional, one size fits all. We have that buffer already. It's just placed at the last week. So my inclination is to essentially leave that setup with the buffer on the tail end. And as you already know, hopefully from the other messages, videos, syllabus, all of that sort of stuff, we're not harping on the due dates. I'm not coming down on anyone for, work that's coming in after the sort of unofficial, whatever due date. So by leaving the buffer then at the end, I don't force people out of the sort of linear progress that they're already in, the pace that they have set, the milestones as we're going. But anybody who is, say, 2 weeks back, 3 weeks back, right up to the moment, that still affords you the flexibility that, for instance, if this week would be the best week for you to be able to have some time to step back, not have to engage this class, say you're dealing with other midterms or something to do with your personal life, any number of reasons, you could take that buffer now in the same way that the other section of the course basically did as a group. If you find in a couple of weeks you need that more, or if you've kind of already had to take that at the front end, which is why you're several weeks back, to leave it at the end, I guess, allows you to have all those degrees of freedom. You can place that buffer kind of wherever it makes the most sense for you. At the same time, for those who are on pace and just kind of making their way through as the course is already paced, they still then have that opportunity to just keep up with that pace, not have a forcible break imposed on them, and then can take it at the end, as can anybody else. So I hope that explanation makes sense. You can probably have a good idea now why I didn't want to attempt to write this out in a 14 paragraph novella. If it isn't clear, let me know. I can send out another message or another attempt at explanation to just try to, again, kind of paraphrase it, sort of summarize it. We have 9 modules that we're working through in an 11-week course. Week 11 is your traditional finals week. We are not doing a final, but we are doing a kind of project to summarize some of the ideas. So because we have that wiggle room of no content in week 10, the other course decided to take that break collectively at a particular spot. And what I'm basically suggesting, proposing, implementing, I guess, is that we're not going to shove a week in there and call that the same for everybody. You have a traveling week that you're quite welcome to take at any time. So I hope that helps. To a very large degree, there's a lot of self-pacing that's already going on. I'm working with some of you very intently, some of you a lot, well, not at all. So just be in touch as far as that goes. I'm not where I wish that I was at with the grading and feedback and things like that. So I am trying to just put the nose down and get on top of that stuff as quickly as I possibly can. So you should absolutely be seeing more and more of the feedback and the points and the answers and various things like that should be starting to really roll out even more intensely than they have been. So. At any rate, happy Halloween. I hope you're doing something that's a lot more fun than this, but what do you do? Stay well, take care of yourselves, be in touch, and we shall talk soon. All right? Cheers.